We're here. This is the Zona del Silencio. This is Agent Russ Ryan.
This is Agent, I was going to call myself Agent Mora, but I guess Agent Drea Mora has a nice ring to it too.
It does.
What if you were just Agent Ryan?
Agent Ryan? Yeah, I could drop the Russ for a little bit, but here we are, Drea. we are back after completing our orientation, and now we get to cover our first case here in the Zona del Silencio. This is exciting, yes?
Exciting, yes. I was going to ask you if this is exciting, yes. I'm interested in this particular case, like, a lot. When I first heard about it and looked into it, I was immediately very dismissive, but then I started hearing a bunch of different points of contention, and it kind of opened up this can of worms for me, and there's a lot to unpack here.
There's a lot to get into, and there's also a lot to get into being back out here. Of course, these recordings are coming from the Zona del Silencio, and I got to say, I feel a lot more comfortable here than I did on that initial journey. I got to admit, I was a little nervous last time. I kind of felt a little out of my element, and there is a certain energy to this place that took some getting used to. But I think I am fully acclimated now, and everyone at ZDS, they've been very helpful and encouraging. How has your experience been so far?
It's been great. Look, I love the desert. I can't say it's probably not as jarring for me as it has been for you, because I'm kind of from a desert area. I like it when it's like a nice dry heat. You just stock up on lotion and make sure to keep your windows closed because it gets dusty. But other than that, it's great.
All right, that's good advice. That's something they haven't told me back to ZDS.
you just kind of feel it out.
Yeah, and before we jump into our first case, we do have a little bit of business that we were asked to tend to. We received some notes from our handler, Issa. Issa is the media outreach director assistant who we answer to. You met Issa, right?
Yeah, I met Issa. He's great. He's nice. He's awesome. This is it's such a positive, good energy. So I'm curious what these notes are then.
Yes. Well, Issa says that he just has a few things he wanted to clear up for us. Are you ready for these notes?
Ready.
First one says, for Agent Mora, zoneros is not considered a slur. It is an affectionate term given to curious visitors who venture into the zona. It is not a slur.
Oh, good. I just, sometimes words have a bit of weight to them, like if tourists or whatever, the word tourist sometimes it can be a little bit degrading in a way, like,
have a certain connotation.
Here comes these zoneros, here comes, so that's, well, good. It's affectionate.
Yeah, that's not so bad. We have another note here. It says, for Agent Mora, the local security guard for the zona is Jamie, not Jaime, as you assumed. Please address him as Jamie. Only his closest friends call him Jaime.
Okay, that's funny. Only his closest friends. Well, I guess I have to aspire to get closer.
I feel like we're going to see him around. And I should mention that the zona has actually shifted. This is not where we were the last time. This is a very different area.
So many looks the same. You try to keep your eye on that one mountain, but even then you still get disoriented.
I think we're on the other side of whatever that mountain is. I'm still here.
Oh, yeah. We're still in here. We're still in it.
We are. And so, yes, those were some notes for you. And
what, you didn't get any notes?
No. Well, all right. Okay. I got a couple. All right. I mean, I've read them already, I know, but I guess I'll share them with you. Okay, we have, for Agent Ryan, blasters are only to be used for self-defense while in the confines of the Zona del Silencio, not for firing randomly, as Agent Ryan did. Whoops, about that.
Yeah, you got to calm down the trigger finger. You can't be all trigger happy. I know it's a big, wide open expanse, but there's still things that can get hurt, and you only pick it up and you only aim when you intend to kill.
Well, there's more. It says Agent Ryan's weapon will be confiscated for a time and be returned upon completion of the mandatory 8-hour safety seminar, the Zona del Safetio. Until then, Agent Mora will be responsible for ranged weapons in the zona. Great.
Good. I mean, as it should be. I'm I don't know. I've had training. I've had training with weapons.
Can I see which one you have? What does it sound like?
It's this. It's just this. Well, let me find something I can shoot at safely because it's self-defense. Oh God, that cactus! It's coming right at us.
No, don't. I don't think they're gonna actually buy that. Look, they give me something though. It's not as cool as yours. I have a whip. I said
a whip.
They didn't trust me with anything else, and I can only use it for self-defense, which sucks. I'm sorry. I tried to bait you into using yours and getting it taken away, but I do.
Oh, I know. Oh, that was me, and I'm so gullible. I'm never listening to you again.
Well, look, if anything does go down, I am going to definitely be jumping behind you because you do have a very impressive one. I've got this whip, though, and I'm not messing around. And we have...
Do you know how to use it?
I'm kind of afraid to use it yet because I don't want to get that taken away because then I'm really screwed. So I'm just going to hold on to it. I'll figure it out. And we have one more note here. It says also, Agent Ryan, if you were going to mention carbonaceous chondrite, please learn how to pronounce it correctly. Fine, I will.
Well, okay, so we both got pronunciation notes. But I mean, look, Jaime is just more fun to say than Jamie, I think. I'm sorry, though, that I misspoke. I'll try to be better.
Yeah, me too. And okay, if these are the only notes we're getting, that's why I'm feeling so good about myself. We could have done way worse. We've got these cool ID badges now. We're here in the Zona. Now that is out of the way, it is time for today's case. In today's case number 1 is the Skinny Bob alien videos. Mm-hmm. In 2011, a series of videos were uploaded to YouTube by an account named Ivan0135. The first of these videos, released on April 13th, 2011, entitled Disclosure Leaked UFO Alien Case Video Confidential Documents Old Footage, contains what appears to be a disc-shaped UFO hovering over a house. The same disc is filmed from a plane or a helicopter in flight. Then the scene of the same UFO crashed with a surviving alien walking towards the camera. And we also see a dead gray alien on the ground near the crashed saucer. And it then cuts to an autopsy scene where we see the dead alien gray getting worked on by doctors. And then it ends.
Disturbing.
This video is only 47 seconds long, but wow, it is loaded with fascinating content that I feel needs to be discussed. What were your initial thoughts upon viewing Disclosure Leaked UFO Alien Case Video Confidential Documents Old Footage?
My initial reaction, especially just to the title alone, is so loaded full of kind of, in my opinion, buzzwords.
It's a lot of tags. It's like a lot of hashtags almost.
Yeah, which that to me immediately lowered my expectations of credibility. But the actual footage, when we were seeing the flying saucer type ship, I wasn't sold on it because it looked like it really could be anything. Like we've, as people, as humans, we've come up with some pretty fun things that go up flying in the air and blimps and whatnot.
Sure.
And I don't think it was a blimp per se, like a traditional style blimp or anything.
It is blimpy. The fact that you mentioned that,
blimpy.
The first thing you see is a thing. If you edited a blimp and maybe had to take out a little bit of the wings or that little undercarriage part, it does have that because it's almost oblong.
It looks inflated.
Not. It doesn't seem as UFO sleekish. It's almost like it's got like a fat bottom.
Yeah, those fat bottom drones.
Those fat bottom blimps,
Fat bottom blimps.
And you can't really tell what's going on because it looks like there's either like a plantation man or maybe some people think that it was like a steamboat that it's under. If you look closely, it is a house.
It was. I had to watch it quite a few times just to figure out, if it was on land or water. The quality, I think, is something we need to talk about. The quality of the film. It's not clear. It looks like it's very old, right? Whether those, there's been filters applied to make it look aged, I think is something that has come up in contention about it. So I was not sold when it came to the aircraft, but the later on that footage really just had me. I mean, I still find myself oscillating between really believing it and thinking about how it could have been hoaxed.
I was curious if you were skeptical about the authenticity of this video.
I'm very on the fence. I'll say that.
And I am too. And now we should say that the origin of these videos is still an unknown. No one has come forward and taken the credit for creating these, despite the fact that these have been studied extensively for more than 10 years now. There's a lot of compelling evidence that this could be real.
Yeah.
And a lot of that evidence can be found in this first video. It's noted that the footage of the UFO, the blimpy, and the second UFO thing you see, that is completely original. In that, if this was some old film used as a source to add other effects to, that original source has never been found. That this is a completely now whether this is some old footage that someone found of someone like we saw a blimp one time. It's like, who cares? No one ever would care about that. But it looks really cool. Like the UFO footage does look really cool, especially the first part with the blimp, and the second one where the camera kind of shakes and it does that quick zoom into the UFO, because that's on the second.
Yeah.
It's almost two UFO videos. It's like the blimp, and then you see what looks like you're in flight almost, and it really zooms in really quick. But the way the camera shakes, but it almost seems stabilized. Like that seems like a hard effect to pull off to fake.
Very much so. And then I've actually seen a couple of versions where they further stabilized the image so that, the rectangle, the frame of the film is moving, but the image itself, they've kind of centered and stabilized it, which is really hard work. So they did an amazing job doing that. Once it was stabilized, which it's relative because it's still very, very fuzzy quality video, but when it was stabilized, it did look a little bit more convincing. So I'll give it that much.
That's what, really what compelled me in a lot of this is that the more it was looked into, the more it seemed almost authentic.
Yeah, you get a little bit actually more. Usually the deeper you delve into something, the more you kind of get a little disheartened, like, okay, I guess this could have been faked. But the more that I dove in, the more I was becoming convinced. I remember first watching it and being very, very, very dismissive of it. I was like, no, this is so easily, everyone always is going to point to CG or even puppetry. But the more that I looked into it, I'm just not sure anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. And so it starts with the UFO things. Then you have the crash scene. And one of the knocks that I'm going to give on this, I'll have my first criticism here, is that the ship that they show crash is pretty small. It does not look like multiple alien bobs are fitting in there. But the aliens in this scene, there's so much in this 47 seconds. So you've got, this crash UFO, which looks really tiny, but you can't tell if that's perspective. Mm-hmm. And then there's a guy walking towards the camera, and then a dead one on the ground. And if this is fake, though, because the aliens do look pretty convincing, especially the one walking towards the camera. And the dead one, you get a puppet, that's one thing. But what do you think, if this is fake, let's say it's fake, just going in thinking it's fake right now, Drea, what is this that we're looking at here? Is this an actual set? Because that does not look like humans with masks on. Or is this miniatures? Or is this CGI? Or a little bit of both? And what do you think?
I'm leaning more towards puppetry. I think it's a lot easier to work with something that you can be moving above, out of sight of the camera, because I got the kind of feel that their gait when walking was reminiscent of the crawling pants guys, night crawlers in Fresno, and have been seen throughout. There's a strange floating kind of way that they move. I don't know. It just kind of defies the sense of gravity that we have here on Earth.
You're right, but maybe they are creatures from somewhere with a different gravity, and when they're here, their gait is a little different. They have like
hollow bird bones.
Yeah, they've got puppet syndrome when they come to Earth because they're used to a different gravity.
Oh yeah, they're trying to get their sea legs, so to speak. They're getting their Earth legs.
Their Earth legs. It could be.
They're walking funny. That is okay. There's something valid to that because there are so many unknowns about the world outside of ours.
Yeah, there's like all of them because we've never been able to prove anything yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
A small detail found in this part is that the alien on the ground, possibly dead, that alien.
He's just sleeping.
Its fingers move. And it's such an unnecessary scene. He's got one finger while it pans over this dead alien on the ground. His one finger curls up like E.T. Did you notice that?
I did, and I'm not sure if it was...
This is
what I mean about the video quality again, because it almost looks like it could be the way like shadows are shifting and the debris and dust and everything. It looks like it, because the fingers are small at that perspective. It could be just... It looks like it's moving, but it's not really. I watched it.
It is. He's like pointing to his heart, like home. E.T. He is doing a little E.T. move.
Oh, there. Oh, I thought it was like the hand on the ground.
I'm being a little dramatic, but it seems like such a small detail to put in there in your alien crash dead video. The fact that you would, I don't know if it's an animatronic or CG to let's make his finger move very slightly as we pan. That seems like so much detail and work to go in there.
Well, maybe they're actually thinking about those kinds of things that we are thinking about. Because usually I used to think about little touches like that. Or just when I'm watching a movie, I'm such a critical asshole when I'm watching movies about like, okay, how realistic is the situation and people's reactions? Like, what would they actually be doing? What would, as a director, what would I be doing to make this seem more believable? And having those little, like we say, seemingly insignificant details are the kinds of little details that lend a bit of credibility. So I don't know. It's still the person who orchestrated this, if it is orchestrated, definitely thought about the correct details to just throw in and just like happen to sprinkle in if it's orchestrated.
Or this dead alien is like trying
Twitched.
to like hit his like, some kind of med pack on his spacesuit.
Any kind of normal reaction. Yeah. When you've gone through trauma, you're just like, you don't know what to do with your hands. You're just like, when I've been injured, there's times where I'm just like lying there in bed and just like in a moment of despair, just like, you kind of sigh and like I don't know, you get frustrated. So he's probably, if he was dying after a crash, hand could be twitching here and there. Neurotransmitters are firing. I don't know.
Let's think about this. So these videos, these are allegedly, this first one is supposed to be allegedly around 1942. The fact that a camera could have been on scene so quick for what is this dramatic crash, maybe that might be the most unbelievable part of it. It's not now where you could understand someone being on the scene and just pulling their phone out of their pocket.
Yeah.
And if this is assumed that this is the military filming this, and there's almost a little drama playing out in this video if you look at it as one thing. Now, these are supposedly snippets of a larger video, but you see the UFO, then you see them land on the ground, the crash, and then the next part that I want to talk about where the video ends with the autopsy scene, which is very short, but it has some interesting details that could make it real. But the thing about this video, it is also very reminiscent of a known hoaxed video, the famous alien autopsy tape from 1995, made by a guy named Ray Santilli. Now, Drea, this is a subject you and I have discussed before. You remember we've spoken about the Fox News special that was hosted by Jonathan Frakes. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That great alien autopsy Fox TV special. And the conclusion of all that was that in 2006, Ray ended up fessing up to the whole alien autopsy being fake footage. But he claimed that it was a recreation of a real film that he saw in 1992. And that the original film of this alien autopsy, it was so degraded, it was completely unusable. But maybe the full version of what this is maybe that little bit of autopsy we're seeing is what Ray Santilli, if he is to believe that he actually saw an alien autopsy video and he wanted to show the world so bad that he recreated it and made a lot of money really quick and then quickly debunked, could maybe if this is real, could this be some of the footage that Ray saw?
Could this be what the inspiration was? There is a small chance, I think, that could be true. I think that it's unlikely. I think that's kind of a cop-out that he would say in order to keep the intrigue about his video, like to stay kind of relevant, so to speak. I can see that being kind of just like a grab, a really quick, just like grabbing at straws here, like, okay, no, but it was real, but I just recreated it. It has that kind of a vibe to it. But there is a small chance. It's not 0%.
So these videos came out in 2011. It was like 1992 is when Ray Santilli said that he saw the alien autopsy film that he later recreated because it was so degraded. Maybe there is something about this video that it is somehow getting passed around or somehow it is out or pieces of it are out. And maybe it is a little degraded. Maybe people only have certain clips at work. Maybe they only have the little bit of the UFO and the crash and the 2 seconds of the autopsy.
It just occurred to me, like, why wouldn't he say from the get-go, this is a recreation of an actual video and just start out with it like that and say like, hey, there is a real video out there. Like I said, it sounds like something somebody would say once they're caught in a lie.
We got the Jonathan Frakes special out of it, so he
There you
pulled
go.
something off. He made a bunch of careers of UFO debunkers back in the day too, who are still here
True.
around to this day, and they do some good work. And even as short as the autopsy is, there are some accurate things that weren't present in that Ray Santilli alien autopsy footage, such as the use of sterile towels and surgical autopsy trays. That's something
Yeah.
people focus on. That is actual autopsy. That's proper autopsy things that every form of media that shows autopsy somehow gets wrong.
Yeah.
And that they did have that present. And that alien autopsy video that Ray Santilli made, that cost $36,000 to make.
Oh, wow. In the 90s.
In the 90s. And something like
That's
this
even a
would
lot
have a
more.
similar cost, which I got to say, I'm a little skeptical of that it would cost someone that much to make it. I mean, if you have a fake alien already, I mean, we've seen the little Mayo videos and stuff. Those are pretty easy to make. You just throw them around.
Yeah.
The autopsy is so brief. You could just have little Mayo laying there.
Yeah. Wasn't one of their, some of the materials they used was grape jelly or something?
Yeah,
They
use
even, how expensive is that going to be? You know?
Exactly.
36,000.
That's a lot of money that he put into that. And man, I'm assuming he probably made double back, maybe just from the Fox special. I have no idea. But let's look at the next video in the Ivan 0135 series. And this is a video titled, we love the titles, Alien Gray Extraterrestrial Zeta Reticula UFO Leaked Footage, or more commonly known as Skinny Bob. This is, when you think of the silly Bob. Sorry, he's not silly Bob. And I almost want to say Skinny Pete earlier because there's a famous Breaking Bad character, Skinny Pete. But this is Skinny Bob. So in this one, in the first video, it started with a KGB logo with like some lines of text blocked out. In this video, there is no KGB logo. It starts with text saying, filtration for declassification and dissemination through the internet and media. 7 videotapes with material recorded between 1942 to 1969. Materials containing UFO incidents, recovery and study of extraterrestrial life forms. And then it shows 3 timestamps and titles of the snippets that you're about to see in this, alluding to the fact that this is from a much longer video, maybe some kind of presentation video of the history of alien contact. The stuff we're not seeing is probably a lot of cool ass stuff. But two of the 3 timestamps are titled Skinny Bob, and with the final clip called How to Drive. And this is the big one for everyone.
So
this is the alien known as Skinny Bob in these first 2 clips. So in our first one, it cuts to the first Skinny Bob segment, which is just Skinny Bob, a gray alien being, very realistic looking, sitting in a room. That's kind of it. He reaches for something on a table. You could call it boring if you ignore the fact that you might possibly
That you're
be
looking at an alien?
at an actual alien being in this. This is the most boring thing ever. But there's something about him immediately that, like, I don't know if my mind connected with or something, where I looked at him and it seems alive. And most CG and puppetry and a lot of stuff just seems so dead as far as that kind of thing goes.
Yeah. There's a lot going on facially, the facial muscles, expressions. You get this feeling of despair and sadness. At least I did when I was watching it. Like I said, I had to watch it a few times to really, it was the first time I wasn't taking it seriously. The very first time I'd seen it outside of this was like, okay, cool. People have made a prop guy. And, that I was looking at it on a very small screen as well. So once I was watching it on a larger screen and you can see more details going on with the face, there are some strange movements that I guess I can see people being led to the idea that it is CG because of the way the entire brow moves down with the eye when it blinks, where that wouldn't really happen. But we don't really know the entire biology and structural muscle of this is a different life form, allegedly. So
you would think the first time you actually saw an alien, you really wouldn't know what's really going on with it. And I, of course, have watched this video too many times, so much so that actually, I know in Coming to the Zone, I actually made a little flip book so we could watch it if we need to refer to.
Oh, fantastic!
That's the part where he's walking, when he's sitting there grabbing the cup or whatever he's doing.
That's incredible. That's great.
I can't stop looking at him. So let's start by talking about the look of Skinny Bob. He is one of the few gray alien designs that look like it might be possible to actually hold that gigantic head. We've seen some weird aliens with traps on their neck and stuff, but that's an artwork.
He's got some thick neck muscles, yeah.
We've watched, and Drea, we have watched a lot of recreations and of UFO events through different terrible TV shows. And those grays, they always look terrible. But this is a feature of a gray I've never seen before. His face is cute.
Yeah.
It's the
it
kind
looks
of
a
facial
little bit
detail.
human.
He looks alive, but he looks, you got to say, Skinny Bob is cute, yes?
Yeah, he's adorable. Maybe that's why I also made that connection of the sadness. I just immediately wanted to, I felt this empathy towards another creature because of those facial expressions. It's like, when you see a stray dog or something and they have those sad puppy dog eyes. He's got these big, huge eyes that just look so sad.
Yeah, but there's something about the smallness of the face and almost the small nose. We've always just assumed there's two little dots in the middle of their face.
Oh no, he's got a little bridge of a nose and a little point to it.
He could wear glasses if you wanted, or giant, big glasses, like comical sunglasses. They would actually fit him really good. and there was a detail that I was very noticeable in this clip, and that is the neck muscles. They are so detailed. If that is CGI, that is a lot of work put in there. So if it's
crazy
not,
amount of work.
Skinny Bob is not actually real. What is this? Is this a mask? Is this a puppet? I mean, you were talking about puppets. Even Yoda looks like shit as a puppet now, as opposed to the 80s. How does this look so great then?
Exactly. We were also talking about or thinking about the movie Paul, which features a CG alien with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. The CG in that movie is very well done. It was also released in 2011. Comparing it to this footage, if this footage of Skinny Bob is CG, the quality surpasses this major feature film. Oh, I don't know if it's a feature film, whatever. This major film budget, and like Hollywood level stuff that can do really convincing things. So for this little side project to just be published on YouTube by a user just out of nowhere and very quiet, there's been no claims, nothing pushed it after that. All of this energy and excitement around this topic has been completely generated only off of the YouTube videos that was posted. No other hype.
Yeah, and Ivan 0135. He never again logged in. It was found that after posting his last of his series of videos, he never logged in again.
It's a little spooky there.
But man, and those muscles, it's like when you look at them, you're like, that could actually hold that head. It almost makes sense. And I've even found through this that this video looks better when it's played at 1.25 speed. That for some reason the film speed is not correct in what we're watching on the original Ivan videos. And Bob looks even more like articulated and human when you watch it at the speed it's supposed to be. And it's also been enhanced in many different ways. His clothes, though,
that is a weird aspect.
The clothes definitely seem independent. I've seen enough digital stuff to see how crappy capes and robes and stuff look on CG things. But you mentioned, how strange is that we have, these two big alien, I call them properties, I guess, but the fact that the movie Paul, about probably the best version of a CG alien we've had, like a CG alien is almost a starring role,
Kicks
like a Jar Jar almost. We get to see a straight comparison, though, of something, of this video from the same year and kind of, you have a high watermark to kind of compare it to. Yeah, you do. It's not like there wasn't any gray aliens on the big screen in 2011. There were to compare to. And so then that was it for Skinny Bob 1. Great video. And then it goes to Skinny Bob 2. This is the thrilling sequel. And this clip is a shot that starts at the creature's feet. Creature, guy, sorry, don't mean to be offensive to Skinny Bob's. It starts... For creatures, it's fine. The camera is at his feet, and it does a slow pan up to reveal a smiling Skinny Bob standing there looking cute. He almost looks like he winks at the camera. Yeah, it did look like a wink. He probably didn't mean it like that. Well, you have to think maybe gray aliens, they have some kind of tics that we don't know about. Maybe an eye twitch or something. But what did you think of Skinny Bob in this one? He's great, right? Yeah, this was one of the ones that
I thought, like, if this is a puppet, it's incredible. The stature, the posture, it didn't look like there was, like, the center of weight seemed like natural. It seemed like something that was an actual biological mass creature. We are a creature also. I don't think it's an offensive word. He looks definitely like, this was where I was starting to just like doubt. Like, when I first went in skeptically, this was one of the points where I was definitely thrown for a loop.
Yeah, he appears to be standing under some kind of scale. There's like a measurement bar above him, and it casts a shadow over his head. And if
It looks so real.
it looks so physical. That doesn't seem like something you would do in this little CGI video. Why even put the bar? Or maybe just
exactly.
You're either
That would've
showing
been
off
too
your
difficult.
skills or this is real. And researchers have found that this measurement device is called a stadiometer. It has been around since the 1800s, and it was still used in the 1920s and 30s. So a nice detail, it could have been there in 1942 when this is allegedly from, this thing called a stadiometer, which it's enough to just watch the slow pan up. And Skinny Bob is so cool looking. Like, his outfit is pretty awesome. It's the coolest space.
Nice turtleneck.
I mean, he's rocking that turtleneck, this great turtleneck outfit. But it's something, I don't know why that shadow bar gets me so much. It just makes him that much more physical, that much more, in our world, just.
Yeah. It's details like that cancel out the theory that it's CG. I don't believe that this is CG. Is it possible that some CG could be used to enhance certain things? Yeah, it's possible. I think some of the filters were proven to be fake. They're just overlays over it, but that doesn't discount the actual footage, the underlying footage, from being real.
No, and there are so many details in this one. And you were bringing up his stance, the motions that Bob makes, that Skinny Bob makes. I mean, it's a pretty slow pan up, but his stance, he leans on his right hip with his arm hanging. He is Contapasto, Drea. He is actually in an accurate stance. He is a piece of art there for us. You could say a lot of care might have been put in with whoever went through the trouble of this, or you could say that is a natural stance. The way, and even you can kind of slightly see his weight shift as the shot pans up. He's got facial movements. There's such tiny details, and all combined to work, at least on me, I think. Details that hardly anyone watching this casually would ever think twice about. Explain yourself.
Right. It's like they could have easily had him sitting down to cut down their work, of trying to make this look very real. There's too many details like that, like you mentioned, for this to not have some, to beg some credibility of some. I've read a lot of skeptics' points on this, and it seems to me like they probably just gave it a once through or watched it maybe 3 times. Because like I said, the first time I watched it, I dismissed it. But once you start really looking at those details, because we're naturally programmed to, now that we know about the technology that we have access to, and then how many other hoaxes people have been duped by. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be duped or be seen as gullible, and so it's almost like a defense mechanism to immediately want to try to call it a hoax.
Yeah,
they're afraid of it being real.
I got to ask the question, why would it pan up? Why does this video, is that standard government filming technique to just start panning up? It was like a little artistic flair from the major. Like the major has been messing around with the camera.
They're not good at it. Think of it this way. If this is in the hands of government officials and they're the ones doing it, they're not artists. They don't know
are in this,
how to direct.
That is a great reveal. They wanted to whoever they were trying to impress with this video, where it slowly pans up and you're like, yep. It's a Skinny Bob. It's very dramatic, and it's also very cute.
Okay, that is a good point. So you're saying that maybe that was an intentional move to make it look more dramatic instead of it just starting out already centered on the subject.
It's just been a zoom out, or it could have been anything. But the fact, the way it is done is this is the most dramatic shot you could ever do of Skinny Bob with a little camera if you were just measuring him. But they are measuring him, and there are some great prints of full shots of Skinny Bob's entire body that you can get. Yeah, very nice.
There's posters.
Yes, very cool posters. And you might be on the fence about Skinny Bob, but there are a lot of credible and not so credible people in the alien and UFO community who believe Skinny Bob is real. Now, Drea, you of course, remember the aerial school incident in Zimbabwe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was probably the most convincing story I've heard with multiple witnesses.
Yeah, you had 60 plus kids. They all saw a UFO land outside of their
The
school in
teachers.
Zimbabwe, and they saw the aliens get out. One kid said they looked like a hippie, and the aliens were running around the ship. It almost sounded like a mass hallucination, but there were so many kids involved, and they have stuck to their story to this day. They're still out there. And
absolutely.
I actually thought about that when that one kid said it looked like a hippie. Maybe he meant a beatnik. Maybe they had turtlenecks on. Beatniks are almost hippies. They're proto hippies.
Yeah, and then these were kids. They might have gotten their merds mixed up and everything.
Exactly. The alien could have had fez on. He'd be like, I don't know, he's some hippie.
I thought they were talking about the hair too, or something, or what looked like hair. This is the way that they know how to describe it. I think because somebody else had mentioned it kind of looked like they had dreadlocks or something like that. But I wish I could remember what some of the teachers were saying about the physical descriptions because, they're adults and they should be able to describe things better. I've got to re-listen to that episode.
There is an adult. They do have a champion. The aerial kids to this day do. There have been 3 documentaries made about the aerial school UFO sighting incident by a man named James Fox. And he is the leading expert in all things aerial school, the champion, you could say. And this poor guy, he was asked so many times to the point of annoyance, it sounded like, in an interview that I found with James Fox. He has been pestered by someone to show the Skinny Bob footage to the aerial school kids. Now, that makes sense, right? You show those kids who we think might have actually seen a real aliens running around. If you show them Skinny Bob, that's a good thing, right?
I'm not sure if it would have any relevance, though. This is a completely different thing. Like, these kids know what they saw during the incident that happened to them. The footage, whether or not it looks real or not, is still, they weren't looking at grays. These kids weren't looking at grays at the aerial school.
You don't think so? They think they were. They think they were looking at grays.
I thought that they had a different stature and everything, like different height and like length. I do need a refresher course on that stuff. I don't remember all the details, but I don't remember them describing exactly. I mean, the way the Skinny Bob looks, like you said, he was wearing a turtleneck. No kids.
Yeah, hippies all hippies wearing turtlenecks at the fish contest.
That's if they were getting it confused with beatniks. Yeah,
of course.
But nobody mentioned any clothes. Nobody mentioned. I think they would have specifically mentioned, a garment that goes up to here and was dark colored garments or something.
Yeah, well, the kids said that Skinny Bob looked just like what they saw. They said,
they were.
They even said, remarkably so. That is remarkable how much Skinny Bob. And all the witness people should be asked this. We should ask Travis Walton. We got to get Calvin Parker. We should ask Wilcock, David Huggins. You think Huggins has seen the Skinny Bob videos?
I feel like he has for sure. Calvin Parker, I'm not so sure. He doesn't seem quite as much to delve into other stories like that. Plus, I mean, the aliens that he saw looked so different. I'm not sure that he would really be able to weigh in.
He's not wrinkly enough. I could actually ask Calvin Parker myself if he's seen Skinny Bob. I could just send it to him and find that answer.
That's true. We could find that out.
I could find that out for myself. Travis Walton, probably not so much. He would probably ignore me.
He's been suggested as a friend for me on Facebook, and I'm a little hesitant to friend him because I am intimidated.
Yeah, I can see that. And
I'm scared.
As far as David Huggins maybe seeing Skinny Bob, I don't think he would care. He's like, this is not hot enough. This is not hot. Get this out of here.
So this is offensive.
He would be like, no, they're hot. They wear share wigs. They don't look anything like this dude. No, not at all. But there is another big name who believes in the authenticity of Skinny Bob, and that is a man named Richard Doty. And this is another character in this that we are very familiar with. Yes, you remember Doty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
Now, Richard Doty, this is a special agent for the U.S. Air Force Office of Special Investigations, and he was known for spreading disinformation in the UFO community, infiltrating UFO groups.
Like a bastard.
And we have also heard him admit that he took deformed humans and he staged alien abduction scenarios. We have talked about this previously. I wonder, thinking about those deformed humans he got, maybe he found those in the Zona del Silencio here. Those are the guys that are supposed to be out here, right?
There's so much out here. Like, I wouldn't put it past him, but deformed humans, you can kind of find deformed humans anywhere.
I kind of forgot that we had to look out for those and those three-headed sheep that were out
Yeah.
here. So this Doty guy, though, who was taking deformed humans and doing alien abduction scenarios, he has admitted this. He was also featured in the documentary Mirage Men, and he disseminated lies. But we try to put the truth out there, I think, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the goal. I mean, I know that we were confused a little bit when we first came onto this project. Our goal is to mostly observe and disseminate. The research obviously is important. I mean, like, yeah, we're not going to be proponents of fakery.
Of lies, of mystery. Yeah, that's all this guy did is, I mean, to the point of infiltrating UFO groups and just feeding bullshit that...
Yeah, it's terrible.
We will probably end up talking about at some point and not even know this is some Doty bullshit that was put out there. But that's kind of the reality of people like this. If he existed, others existed. The fact that he's come forward now and he's not in it. But Doty was asked about it because he's in the military. He's all in on the alien UFO stuff. And he claims Skinny Bob is real.
Of course he would.
Doty says that this is an actual ET in a confinement facility out of Area 51. He also claims that it was filmed inside the alien's own environment, whatever that means. So the footage we saw where he's getting the cup, maybe that's why he doesn't have the weird gravity elements that we see when they're landed.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
So what is he aboard his ship? Is he in like a controlled alien thermostat room? What do you think? Do you think they maybe gave him special gravity here on Earth, or is he in his own ship? Where is this being filmed?
I don't think that all of that sounds like some kind of schoolyard bullshit that he cooked up. Because think about it, if their ship crashed, how is like it going to be functional enough for not just? And he said it looked pretty small for that gravity, whatever, if that is even a thing that happens in there, to still be functional and fit the people, whoever is holding the camera, in there comfortably. You would think there would be a little bit more of a panning shot just to, see what the environment looks like. That I feel like that's a strange tangent that no, I don't believe that.
That's a weird detail. He always has to put a little hat on something. It's like, not only do I know, but I'm going to give you a little more something. By the way, that was in his own environment. Well, what do you mean?
That's such a pathological liar type thing to say.
If that video is, if you're looking at this in the series of Ivan videos, UFO sighted, UFO crashed, alien autopsy. The next thing you know, you got poor, sad, Skinny Bob. It's not silly. I keep saying Silly Bob. I apologize. He's just too cute for me not say that. But then you have him, I don't know, sitting in an interrogation room, looking a little sad, being measured. How is he in his own environment? I mean, this is Doty. This is the most easy of everything so far. This is the most easily dismissible thing. But who knows what if he was actually in the military in on UFO stuff? He would know the actual secrets because he's putting out a lot of lies. He disseminates lies, but he also probably knows whatever truth there might actually be as well.
Well, how come he can only say certain things and not all of it? Why not full disclosure? That's just, it's bullshit. My bullshit meter goes off.
I think he's still trying to trick people. You're right. Because right after bringing up the merits of Skinny Bob, he also says that a video called the Victor Alien video is also real. I got to ask, have you ever seen this particular video, the Victor Alien?
That sounds so familiar. And like, as soon as you said it, I pictured an alien with a turtleneck.
No, this is the one he spoke about right after. The alien kind of looks like Greedo at certain angles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I hate this video. This is another alien.
It made me feel weird.
This is another one that Doty claims is real. This is a gray alien who looks more green. And I had an actual nightmare the night I watched this.
Oh, no.
But this video is nowhere near the level of the Ivan 135.
It looks like a sex tape. I don't like it. It looks so creepy and sketchy.
It's a creepy alien that Doty claims is communicating telepathically with someone. And then these, I don't know, two guys come in and just start like manhandling him and holding him down. It looked very uncomfortable. It looked very non-consensual.
Like snuff film type shit. I did not like it. I felt very, very creeped out watching it.
So let's get back to the video. I got a little sidetracked there. Bob's going to do that. There is a final snippet in this video called How to Drive. And this is just a few seconds long shot of some kind of panel with a circular design. It looks like a glass panel, possibly symbols on there. What did you make of that small snippet of How to Drive? Did it make any sense to you?
No, and it was so short. I couldn't I couldn't piece together. It definitely wasn't showing anybody how to drive. I find the titles of these to be a little bit unnerving between this one and there was one called Family Vacation. It just seemed like really like the titles were very eerie, but because they were so kind of abstract, again, that is something that kind of pushes me to believe that that's following some kind of narrative and storyline that the person who is putting these out is privy to that we're not privy to.
You're right. If you look at this part, the first one definitely tells a 3-story arc. UFO flying, UFO crash, cutting up an alien. This one we have, all right, Skinny Bob, we're here, some coffee. Okay, now we're going to measure you. And now the third one called How to Drive. Now, How to Drive is believed to be a flight control panel of an alien spaceship. And people have enhanced this little part, and they've found 4 points that could possibly be finger contacts on that panel. So is this baby Bob showing them how, because there almost looks like a shadow of a hand over it.
Like
but
he's trying to explain it.
There are these small little things that look like symbols at first. It's like, was he maybe aboard the ship? Is that maybe a little credibility to Doty? Was he not involved in the crash? Was he maybe somebody sent after? Like do you think the Skinny Bob we're seeing is the one that was walking around in that early video? I don't think so.
That's a very good question, actually. Like I had it in my head that this was all like the main subject was going to be the same person, the same Skinny Bob, but it could be one of those things where, I mean, they all look the same. Like they literally all look exactly the same. So and there were a few walking around after the crash.
They weren't cute,
one of them walking towards the camera. They weren't as cute as Skinny Bob.
They weren't.
But this could have been any of them though, because you don't see the face. You just see, like you said, like a shadow of a hand kind of hovering over.
It's true, and it kind of brings up the idea, like, so what happened here? What was this ship that crashed? Did he somehow get them to repair it? And that's how we learned all this reverse engineering technology that people have talked about for years, the secret space program, all that. Sure. Did he show them, or was he someone who came later, had to meet? I want my friends back. At least I want their bodies. Okay, come check out my ship. Maybe that's a little unlikely. I don't know. Hey, that little panel, though, if that is how you fly a spaceship, if you got a glass panel, put your hand on it, and you just
see what happens.
Just fiddle around, do that. You think we'll ever see that in our lifetime? You think that it could actually be a technology?
Honestly, I'm optimistic that, because we've seen how quickly things develop, how there's basically this, cycles that kind of get shorter and shorter when it comes to technological advancements. I mean, even on a sillier note, I guess, fashion and music, you see those cycles kind of and trends are cycling through quicker and quicker and quicker with the internet and people collectively sharing their ideas and their intelligence. I really think that we'll be able to achieve something like that in this lifetime. We have enough brain power collectively and motivation, I think.
It'll be some kind of neural link touchscreen kind of thing. And think about this was 2011, and I mean it's supposed to be 1942, of course.
That was
touchscreen. I mean, touchscreens were been in use for a very long time.
Oh yeah, do you remember when movies were like Minority Report, where you'd be like swishing around screens with your hands, and it seemed so futuristic sci-fi, but we're getting so close to that point. Even we've finally got wristwatch communicators with the Apple Watches. I think
we do. I've seen those things. Of course,
they're real.
You're right. We all got it. Skinny Bob. Thank you for everything. But this is how Alien Gray Extraterrestrial Zeta Reticuli UFO leak footage concluded. Favorite of the series, Drea? You think? I think Skinny Bob really shines in this. This is definitely my favorite of this.
Yeah, I am. I'm at a point now. I'm at a juncture where, it's what I've always said too about things that could be faked. Where if it is faked, then they've done a fantastic job. But it's so detailed and so I think what really we have to do, we need to focus on finding out who Ivan 0135 is. It seems like it could be multiple people. I think once we kind of track that down, I just want the truth behind this. Even if it is a hoax, I just want to even know how did you do it and why? But there's still so many questions about it. But I'm leaning towards that this is that he's the real deal.
And you're talking about,
I want it to be.
Things progressing and people, I don't know, getting better online or smarter online. Who knows? But I do think they will lead to either finding out. There will be a conclusion to this at some point. And so let's talk about the final Ivan 0135 video. This is titled Alien Gray Extraterrestrial Zeta Reticuli Tape 6, Family Vacation, or just family vacation in the SB community. As you mentioned before, this is the family vacation tape.
Creepy name.
It starts with text saying, from the first contact in 1942, a series of diplomatic visits to discuss matters of mutual concern were planned. This is almost a callback to the first video. This is talking about the crash, I'm assuming, 1942. Yeah. It goes on to say, under the Treaty 2304, these meetings would take place in secrecy. A limited number of special guests would escort visitors, and they would only meet high-ranking officials. So the aliens are coming. They only meet.
Interesting, but they won't name any names, obviously.
They have special agent visitors. Hey, we got to be agents. Maybe we get bumped up some. I want to be special agent. That sounds really special.
Oh, man. Yeah, but I feel like I'd have to pass some kind of physical test for that, and I'm not willing to do that.
They have to arm wrestle a Skinny Bob and defeat him.
that would be amazing. I mean, how do I get to that level? One thing that jumps out at me about the whole motivation is KGB, right? That logo was on the first video. And that supposedly is the government that would have been handling all of this, that is supposedly behind recording all of this. That makes me wonder about a motivation for faking it, kind of like the way some people say that the moon landing was fake. And because of the whole space race and, KGB is going to want to show that they've got an actual alien, kind of versus the Roswell footage. But this just looks so much better. And like I said, the certain details and the names of these video clips are weird and strange, like family vacation. Do they do family vacations out there?
It's the standout of this because this it goes on, the text goes on. It says, according to the document 072/E, at the meeting of 1961, this must be an alien high-ranking official meeting, there was an incident involving 3 subjects. Due to the violation of the agreement by the officers at the military base, when they discovered that their arrival was being filmed by a hidden device without their consent. Under the Treaty 23/04, the meetings would be confidential and filming or taking photographs would not be allowed.
Now, why would that be? Why would they care about that?
Maybe they saw that footage from 1942 and they're like, why do you, we're trying to be intimidating. He looks too cute. We're not that cute.
You captured our cutest soldier.
Yeah, you captured a teenager. He's like, Will Robinson, almost. He's like, maybe he was the younger of this. He was the stowaway, like Speed Racer or something where he wasn't supposed to be here.
Yeah, I mean, that is an interesting take for sure. It's so strange to me that they would care. It's not like it's going to be getting back to their home planet. Maybe they're just afraid of how we would react, just the same as our own government has been afraid of how we would react to knowing the truth that these things are really out there.
Maybe they seem more invested in us not knowing than the government does in this. And
right.
So after you hear this, we get to see the secretly recorded footage, and we see a crew of Bobs walking down what looks like a hallway. It is hard to tell. They could be on a moon base or a casino. I don't know where these guys are. What did you think of this footage? And this is also in color, I might add. This is from 1962. It's a secretly recorded meeting.
Like I said, when I first watched any of it, I just, they still looked like they could be puppets. But after everything else, after watching these other videos, I'm like, it just, I don't know because there's something strange looking about it. But like I said, the gait and like the way that they walk does look like it could be real. Like it looks like an actual living thing.
It does look like there's a guy, I don't know. I mean, this is 19, I don't know what, he had a bowler hat with a camera in it, or belt buckle camera, maybe a tie or something. But there's not a lot of detail to be debunked in this. It is just the aliens, the Skinny Bobs, just walking around from a shaky camera, and it looks convincing.
It's so short.
They definitely look way too skinny to be people in outfits.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's anybody in a suit for any of these.
They can't be, but they also look too good to be puppets.
Yeah, that's what kind of eventually sold me once I dismissed the idea of it being CG, because some people still lean into that and think that it is CG, but the way the camera moves, it would be such an incredible job, and I just don't think that it is. It's very unlikely that it's CG. Yeah, I mean, this is the most convincing collection of footage I've probably ever seen when it comes to aliens.
I'm glad you say it as a collection. Now, I want you to do a little thought experiment. Now, take the middle video, take Skinny Bob out of the series. If you just see that first video, the UFO, the crash, blah, 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 2 seconds of an autopsy. Then you see shaky footage of some aliens walking around. Not nearly.
Not as convincing.
I don't think we'd be talking about it all without. I mean, that they definitely stacked the second act big time with Skinny Bob. That he makes all of this, almost come together. And the fact this one it seems so disjointed from the first two. Are we seeing, these guys do not look as cute as Bob. I know I've said it about most of the other ones. I'm going to say that. They look much more sinister in appearance. And to be fair, though, they are in business. This is supposed to be business, according to Ivan 0135.
And they're pissed. Now they found out that we were recording and we shouldn't have been. They're mad.
Yeah, and how did they let that film get out? Is it that easy to trick them that you could just, stick a camera on anything?
Maybe that's why we don't have more. Maybe this was all that we managed to keep. Maybe they did destroy all the rest.
Yeah, like Godfather style. Like they grabbed the camera and smashed it and threw a few bills at them. Some space bucks.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be amazing. I mean, like I said, it's still fishy that they would care about that at all. But
it is your people. Why would we care? We want
right.
They already know about us anyway, dude. You might as well tell them. Like, no, we can't. No, the Bobs don't want you guys to know about it. We wanted to tell the American public the entire time, or the Russian public. And I want to go back to family vacation, though. You think this is actually how they spend a vacation, the Bob family?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like the names of these things are so strange. It's almost like when you make a folder for something you don't want somebody to open and you call it something like payroll or bills, like something boring, so that they don't go and delve into like, oh, this is just family vacation. This is just a normal video. Don't open it. Kind of thing.
You're right. It does seem like, a little red herring title to put on something.
Yeah,
like
that's the phrase. Yeah, red herring.
You hide your porn or whatever you call it, family vacation.
Yeah, I hide all my financial stuff in a folder called porno so that people
mine just is boring stuff. Don't worry about it. Move along. Yeah. But so far I've brought up a lot of points defending the possibility that these are real. At least parts of this video are real. Now I'm going to bring up some of the evidence that these videos are complete bunk. Well made, maximum effort for sure, but just that. Produced, not real events. These are not things that happen in the life of skinny gray aliens between the 1940s and 60s. Let's talk about the first video. The first video starts with that KGB logo with the text blocked out above and below it.
Strange.
This same logo was found in a 1998 program called the Secret KGB UFO Files. It's a distinct version of the KGB logo that was used just in this television special that I believe played in England. So that has been found. That was one of the pieces of this that has been found, that they do feel that is from the same thing. But so maybe that was tacked on later, though. Maybe
this was definitely touched up after the fact. We don't know about the original footage, but I do feel that there is definitely, like, if somebody got their hands on it and just somehow still wanted to make it seem more official, like I mentioned, there are these filters and overlays that were proven to be faked because people found the exact same ones online.
This is the time where we should talk about those. So you're right. People have also found certain filters and VFX overlays that were used in certain segments, like the UFO in the very beginning of this. And some of these were uploaded a few months after the Ivan videos in 2011. Some of the scratches that you see, and there's a chemical residue that's present in some frames. People have found those exact filters. So those are something, but so we've, so far what we're talking about, things that have been found are extra things that anybody could have put over this, putting a KGB logo in the beginning. But it's not, and there's another thing like this, the font of the time in the Skinny Bob videos, there's a little ticker at the bottom there.
Oh, yeah.
That is found to be a font from Microsoft called Consolas, made in 2006.
Oh, yeah. I know that font.
So why go through the trouble and put a VFX layer that people could easily squash when everything else in this is so masterfully done? Even if it's fake, it's very masterfully. Why would you easily put things over it that
could
people
be
could
found, yeah.
find and busted with.
That's the most damning thing about this whole thing. And it's a shame because, like I said, it doesn't necessarily completely debunk the actual footage that these filters and overlays were put on top of, but it definitely doesn't make a strong case for it being real. It's like, why would you do that?
Doesn't need it. I wish someone would make a version where they actually just took all of those out and just watch it like that. But
maybe it was too clear, and maybe then you can see the strings moving or something. You know, maybe it was meant to hide stuff that would give it away otherwise. But yeah, if you're going to put that much effort and be so good at coming up with something that is that convincing, that you then
why do you skip out on the effects layers? Yeah. Why do you have to
it just
put
doesn't
that
add
on
up?
It doesn't.
It's strange. So maybe that's the kind of disinformation thing. Maybe that's something that somebody did in order to. Maybe that's a red herring in itself to throw us off the track, to be like, oh yeah, see, look, there's fake filters, so we can't take this whole video seriously.
Exactly. It puts it out there, but at the same time puts enough out there to where just a little that most a normal eye watching this is going to kind of go, I don't know, whatever, and move on and not ever think about it. The fact that they might actually be looking at a real alien when they're looking at Skinny Bob. And it is still unknown who is responsible for this. But there was a theory put forth recently by a Reddit user named So-Called Life. And So-Called Life, Drea, he has a theory that these videos were created by a man named Ben Phillips. Ben is a model maker and visual effects artist, and he's worked in the business for many years. He got his big break was it seemed like to be the Harry Potter movies in the early 2000s. He did a lot of work in model making. He's very talented at that, particularly in modeling aliens.
Wow, that's definitely something.
And he was right on the scene as soon as these videos came out. He was talking about and reposting the Ivan 0135 videos just 6 days after they first appeared on YouTube. He made comments. I mean, this was before it kind of caught on. There was a small time where there was a little viral. You know, the Skinny Bob went viral for a little bit. It didn't go, completely
didn't go platinum.
Crazy. Yeah, it didn't hit those heights, but. He would also make comments praising the work. He'd be in the YouTube comments of the video. And he would say things like, if someone was making this, man, this is the best he's ever seen. And whoever made this, they got real talent and they have to be super handsome.
Of these interviews
to
blow
pull
my
something
mind.
like this off. Yeah. He really went in
handsome.
on saying like, hey, this looks real, but if it is fake, I can tell you as a VFX guy who worked on Dobby's ears or whatever he did.
Yeah, he'd be like,
Harry Potter.
I would date this guy, by the way. Whoever made this should totally have a girlfriend and just this
totally guy,
building himself
whoever
up.
did this is definitely very successful with the ladies. You can tell when they pan up, only guy. And he claimed in those comments, this Ben Phillips, he said that it appeared to be a combination of models, CGI, and motion capture.
I can see that.
And that if he tried to recreate it or create it to begin with, he didn't say that, then it would be very expensive and it would take a very big team. That almost brings you back to the $36,000 to make the Ray Santilli thing. Another thing about Ben, though. Ben Phillips is super into aliens. He has an online, almost persona, screen name called Beatykin, which is an alien. And I earlier sent you a picture of Beatykin before we ended out here in the Zona. And Beatykin is an alien. He has an actual model and a CG version. The model version looks a little LMAO kind of style alien. He almost looks a little bit
little
of
mayo.
That kind, little mayo kind of alien style. But the CG version wears a silver jumpsuit very kind of close to Bob's. His CG modeling of the alien is very good. I mean, it's pretty good work. I mean, he's been working in Hollywood for years, and he's just doing this persona as a hobby, as Beatykin, the gray alien.
It's not bad. It's obviously it's good. Where like I would give it an A, but there's certain things that are like immediately I look at the picture that you sent, and I'm like, why is he so much crisper than the person he's high-fiving? It's just little things like that where it's like
maybe he needed
it doesn't
an
look like
overlay.
he was taken in the same. Yeah, it's like that's clearly CG just because of the crispness and the sharp details, and he's shinier. He's catching more light than the other person next to him.
I don't see the life. I don't see the actual heart that I see in actual Skinny Bob. In Bob, I don't see that in BDkin, even though it's just still photos. But he's just doing this as a hobby, and he's on Facebook as BDkin. He comments as BDkin. He's nerdy.
It's obviously not. He's not trying to put it out there as a serious this is a real alien.
But he's working. But I mean, this is what this guy's doing. He's very into aliens. He's very deep in the VFX community. And he was also commissioned to build a Roswell diorama in the 90s because he's a great model maker. And the outfits used, they look really similar to the ones from the crash footage. And this diorama, this was to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Roswell. It's some kind of big convention or celebration where he not only created alien models, but a crashed saucer for this diorama because he was recreating the Roswell incident for this. And there are no pictures that have been found. It was found, though, that he did comment and mention this in a Reddit post because people did find the BDkin Reddit account and saw comments he made. He definitely confirmed that he did work on this. He brought it up himself. That almost sounds like all you need to make the crash video. You know, they talk a lot about it takes the budget down quite a bit when you already have everything to do it. Already, you have a crash saucer prop. You have alien models that you've made for a Roswell thing. A little clever video editing, being very short snippets of certain things. And maybe he doesn't want pictures of this thing getting out there, of this Roswell model thing. You would think it might be out there somewhere.
Yeah, why would, to me, those are the things that don't add up. If he had a hand in all of this other stuff, why wouldn't he want his name on that? Why wouldn't he use that as part of his portfolio? Why go through this ruse?
It's amazing.
Right?
If you have you Skinny Bob in your resume, man, that's a great thing to have.
I mean, easy hire, yeah.
There's another piece of evidence that I didn't bring up yet, but the great pan up shot of Skinny Bob where you get the whole body perspective of him. People have put that picture next to a picture of a puppet from the film Mars Attacks. And the alien from Mars Attacks. And the proportions of the Mars Attack alien puppet and Skinny Bob match up pretty perfectly as far as... If you think about how Skinny Bob looks, just imagine him, with his teeth sticking out, saying ack.
Bulging eyeballs.
Pretty close. It is pretty close. And Ben Phillips, he works in the film industry. He's super into aliens. There actually is a chance that he would have access to the Mars Attacks puppet. It's so close.
Sure.
He's so talented. A few adjustments to that. If you are in this industry and and he is a fanboy of aliens already, he was probably trying to get his hands on some props. He's in the VFX. Those guys are probably also close. A model maker guys like, hey, can I borrow that Mars Attacks thing for a little bit? I want to, I got an idea I'm messing with.
Yeah. It just all comes down to consistency and mannerisms. Just personality wise, getting to a psychological standpoint of him doing this, creating some kind of hoax, or at least being a part of it. And then it just being released under some random YouTube name, Ivan0135, and then nothing. And just crickets after that.
It's the realism
it just doesn't
of
seem,
it.
It just doesn't seem plausible to me that it's him. Because also you got to look at the consistency of his work. So many details that to me were overlooked. Obviously I'm not a CG artist and I know that it's a difficult thing to do and be very, very good at, but looking at the Skinny Bob footage, that is some above and beyond work. If that was to be even a combination, like we said, of motion capture and CGI and puppetry, all of it put together. Like we said, that's something you would want to put your name on and put out there. But for it to be crickets and nobody seeking any kind of credit for it is weird to me.
He might not need it on his his resume is great. He worked on all the Harry Potter films. He worked on Solo, a Star Wars film. But I wanted to see what he's up to. I was really hoping Paul would come up in his IMDb. So in 2011, when Paul and Skinny Bob came out, it appears that around that time he was working on Chronicles of Narnia. So that's a no-go. So he was not involved in the film Paul at all.
No.
But what he is involved in, he is a part of the SB, the Skinny Bob research community, because he has posted these videos. He'll post breakdowns. At least he did a few years ago. And he was the first to come forward with enhanced images of Bob that showed Skinny Bob has eyes. that had not previously been seen. And analyzing those eyes, now his eyes appear to be just like a gray, like a giant black giant
mass.
almond-shaped dark eyes. But there are actual pupils and whites in there on his enhancement. And these also match the eyes of the Mars Attacks doll. If you think about the Mars Attacks aliens, they had actual little eyeballs. Remember? They weren't big gray aliens.
They were giant eyeballs, though. But yeah. I mean, I did see a video.
That might be why they're obscured in the first place. If this was a Mars Attacks doll, you would want to obscure those weird eyeballs. That doesn't look alien enough in this case, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen the same video that you're talking about, though, but I did see one that somebody else enhanced. I saw some other Reddit user who's been pretty active in their subreddit about going into this and, just kind of trying to enhance the same person who stabilized that other video I was talking about. And when he posted that, he said, now, are we seeing eyes here, like more of an eyeball thing, or is this a glitch? Because there's so many weird artifacts in the video that either existed at the time or had been added in by those filters that it is a little bit hard to see because it's such a short little, range that we get to see those eyeballs.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of work to get there. You cannot, of course, you're not going to see it
frame by frame.
Yeah, you do. But the fact that he comes forward with this, does that say that maybe he might have a higher quality of this video that maybe he can toy with? Maybe he's putting little things out there to perpetuate the story a little bit, keep it relevant. You got to have something. If Skinny Bob just came and went, which is kind of did, and you did it, you would still want people to have interest in it. You would still want, that people, new evidence feel like getting closer to either proving it's real or almost putting evidence out there. If this was him that did it, almost leading a trail of breadcrumbs to him. Think about it. Ben Phillips, he has the talent. He has the interest. He has the access. It could be this guy.
But what's the motive?
What's the motive? I'll give you the motive right now, because this thing from So-Called Life, which, great write-up on him. He closes with this. This is a Ben comment on his YouTube video. Quote, "Some people have an eye for certain things. Mine is realism, and I use the eye for my career constantly striving to fabricate realism." Now, that is an actual quote from Ben Phillips, completely unrelated to anything alien or Skinny Bob.
Okay. That's interesting. That does give a few more percentage points towards that side, but basically it went from me for it being like 15% credibility that it's him behind it to like 17% credibility, maybe 20%. I just don't see somebody like that who is that into all this stuff not wanting to take credit.
Yeah, and there was actually a big incentive to take credit. There is someone out there who has put up a $30,000 challenge.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that.
You saw this. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of this because there are way too many. It is so convoluted, this challenge. Like it tears down to a maybe if you think you know what an alien is, you might get $1 at some point. There's so much stuff going on with this. But
I think we should enter.
If he did, maybe I could at least get one of the lower tiers. That'd be great. We could pull it off. But if you did make this video, I mean, maybe he is well off enough. He doesn't care about this, but there is $30,000 sitting waiting for anyone who has a little more footage of this alleged long film of Skinny Bobness that's going on.
Any way to debunk it, though, too. He said if you have any proof of this being a hoax, like any actual hard-hitting evidence, that's definitely up for a reward as well. So he just wants the truth, ultimately, the guy who's putting this on, as much as we do. But we definitely don't have that kind of money to be throwing around to get to the truth. But we'll be standing on the sidelines to see what comes of that.
Maybe we'll have to bring, get Ben in for questioning at some point.
I'd be fine with that.
Drea, hold on. I'm getting behind you. I think there is actually
Oh my God.
Drea, come on, take this thing out. It's a three-headed sheep.
Okay, this is self-defense, right? This counts?
I'm behind you. Go.
Okay, all right, go. You okay?
Holy,
oh my God.
Nice shot. Wait, hold up. I think actually one of the heads might be still. Wait, let me all right.
Jesus.
Man, you took that thing out. That's my cue here. I think we need to head back. I gotta ask. Let's move a little quick. I don't want to see this thing again. I got to use the whip. Wait, is it moving? No, it's so good.
Well, you figured it out. That's good. I don't like how you handle the whip. I don't want to be out here. Like I said, I prefer to be underground at these times.
This was self-defense. You
Goddamn,
just
the need
wasted
for a
that three-headed
cigarette.
sheep. That was a great move. I'm
You
feeling a
just have
little
to take out
nervous.
one of the heads.
I'm feeling a little nervous now, so let's head back. But Drea, what is your assessment of Skinny Bob after this exhaustive research?
I'm like, I used to be at like a 50-50. I just kept on oscillating between believing it and not believing it. But after everything and looking at the motivations, the level of detail, everything, I mean, obviously there's still going to be more that we have to get into. There's still so many questions that need to be answered, but I'm leaning a little bit more 70-30, 70% believing that this is something substantial, something, at least some part of this has some merit. And even if it's been doctored up, I don't know. It's so convincing. Yeah, it's hard. It's tricky.
I'm with you. I think I'm a little above 70. I believe in Bob. I think someone wanted this out there. They left many seeds of doubt as to not maybe get him or herself into trouble or maybe break a treaty. We don't know what logistics went into this coming out. I don't care about overlays. I don't care about pops.
Yeah.
I don't care about cracks. I believe in Bob, and I hope to meet him someday. And I think Ben Phillips, I don't know. Maybe he is just a bit of a casualty of this. Right place, wrong time. Knows too much. A little too close to it. A little too possible that it could be him. A little too possible that it could be him. He seemed like he would like the credit. I believe in Bob.
Yeah. Definitely need some more answers. We need to find out who is behind the Ivan0135 account. That's going to crack everything open.
I think
we need the truth either way.
We do. And I think we're getting close. I'm a little nervous. But thank you for defending us here at the end here, getting us through this. I do think I'm getting a signal. Let's see here. Yeah, but until next time.
Zona del Silencio is underwritten by ZDS Inc., ZDS R&D, and the Zona del Silencio Media Outreach Department. If you have a case that requires research, we can be contacted through Zona del Silencio Podcast at gmail.com, at Zona del Podcast on Twitter, and Zona del Silencio on Instagram. ZDS. Research, observe, disseminate.